Okay, here we are. Good morning again to each of you. I'm so glad that you are with us. My apologies about things yesterday. You may or may not be aware, but there is another Grace Lutheran Lakeland on Facebook. It's not us. I don't know who created it. And I inadvertently went to that Facebook page yesterday. So it wasn't broadcast over, or pardon me, it wasn't live streamed on the page that we're on now, which is the correct page, of course. Marty has told me that he managed to find yesterday's and has posted it to the website. So you can always go and check there. And I would urge you to do that just because we laid out the story there of Tamar in some detail. So I hope that you have a cup of coffee or perhaps a cup of tea, and you can just sit for a couple of moments together. We'll be together for about no more than 10 minutes, I think, today. And let me just add a couple of things. As you are aware, perhaps, each week we're going to be looking at a different one of the women who are in the genealogy of Jesus as it's laid out in the Gospel of Matthew. Not every day of the week will be devoted to that person, but that will be the start of each week. So the four women who are in the genealogy are Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba. So on the first day of the week, I will be giving a little bit more background on the story of that particular woman. Some of those I might get into written form, and I'll ask Marty to post them on the web page, but I'm not positive about that. You know, the busyness of the season, particularly in the church. So let us then get started. I'm going to take a moment and go back over the story of Tamar, since it was not posted correctly yesterday. It's not going to be as detailed a telling of the story, but it's necessary in order to, it's necessary background in order that we can understand the devotion yesterday and today. So Tamar, Tamar was married to the son of Judah. Judah was one of the 12 sons of Jacob. Jacob and Esau were sons of Isaac, and Isaac was the son of Abraham. So we're in those generations coming off of Father Abraham. And in order to understand this story, we need to understand at least one thing that's very different from our customs and practices today. And that is the practice of levirate marriage, Levirate. In levirate marriage, a woman whose husband died was then entitled to be married to that husband's brother, to her brother-in-law. Sounds kind of creepy today, but the point of it was that a woman who was widowed, particularly if she had no children, was in a very sorry, vulnerable, and unprotected state in society. So it was a matter then of protection for this woman that she would be given in marriage to her brother-in-law. Now, some might say, isn't that incest? It is not, because there were exceptions for incest to accommodate levirate marriage. So with that then, let's hear a little bit more of the story of Tamar. She was married to Er, who was Judah's oldest son, and died before Tamar had a son. And so in keeping with the custom, she was then given in marriage to Onan, who was the second oldest of Judah's sons. And wouldn't you know it, Onan died as well. And so here is Tamar, twice widowed, without children. She was entitled to be given to the third son, Shelah, except that Shelah was too young. And so father-in-law Judah told Tamar that she could come and live in his household as a widow. what that meant is that she was required to wear widow's garb, widow's clothing, and then was required to be chaste, to not have any sex not to have any sex at all, no sexual relations. So the understanding that Tamar had was that when Shelah came to be of age, she would be given in marriage to him. Well, years went by, and that didn't happen, and she was very concerned, of course, and wondered what her future would be. She heard that her father-in-law was going to be going on a boys' weekend up to the sheep shearing festival, sheep shearing party. It wasn't a festival in the religious sense. And she decided to have a plan. She took off her widow's clothing and she wrapped herself in a scarf. And she sat on the side of the road. Excuse me, I've got a couple of text messages here. She sat on the side of the road. And in doing that, she looked like a prostitute. And wouldn't you know it, along came Judah, and he said, I'm kind of interested in this. And he asked her, so what will the cost be for me to have my way with you? And he said, I'll give you a young goat. And she said, that will be fine. And Judah said, but I don't have a goat right now. And so Tamar said, well, give me your signet ring, your shepherd's staff, and the cord around your waist, and I will hold those as down payment on the goat. So he agreed to that. He went in to her and then went on his way. He came back, and being a quote-unquote man of his word, he got the young goat and then went back to that place on the road, and there was, of course, no one there. He asked around where that woman was, and there was no one knew anything about her, so he went back home. Well, wouldn't you know it, as it turned out, Tamar became pregnant with her father-in-law's son or child. And the reading that we pick up on, and before I forget, this whole story is laid out in Genesis 38. And so we hear these verses today from Genesis 38. 3 months later, Judah was told, your daughter-in-law Tamar has played the whore. Moreover, she is pregnant as a result of her whoredom. And Judah said, he was outraged, bring her out and let her be burned. As she was being brought out, she sent word to her father-in-law, it was the owner of these 3 things who made me pregnant. And she said, take note, please, whose these are, the signet, the cord, and the staff. Then Judah acknowledged them. He had no choice, of course, and said, she is more in the right than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah. And he did not lie with her again. So we have this story of Tamar. Tamar, who was very marginalized as a widow without children. Tamar, who was crafty and cunning enough to look out for herself. She came up with a plan. And then not only did she have the plan, but she also had the plan within the plan. And it worked and saved her life, actually. So I think key in our reading today from Genesis 38, verses 24 to 26, was Judah's statement, she is more in the right than I. Isn't that hard to say sometimes? We know that Dr. Luther told us that one of the purposes of the law is to serve as a mirror to us, to serve as a mirror for us to see our own shortcomings, our own sin. And in Tamar's action here, she served as the law to Judah. And in this, Judah could see his own wrong in his dealings with her. So let's hear what Pastor Liz, who is the Scottish Episcopal priest in Scotland, what she writes about this. And this writing is called Holding a Mirror. How often are the things we call out as abhorrent in other the very things that dwell in us, things tucked away, buried deep, hidden from sight until, confronted with their presence in another, like looking in a mirror, we are confronted with our own darkness. The light of Christ shines on us, not to confront or condemn, but to reveal and redeem, and to encourage us with that same compassion to hold out a light for others, an aura in which healing can begin. So I hope today that as you walk in the light of Christ, that you will feel that revealing light, that redeeming light, and in that be able to share the light of Jesus with those we meet. Will you please pray with me? O Christ, you are the light of the world. May your light keep on calling us out of darkness. Embracing your light, may we show compassion for others. And finding in your light forgiveness and healing, may we forgive and heal others with the light of your love. For love's sake. Amen. And so I wish you all a good day, a good morning and a good day. Maybe have a second cup of coffee. I'm headed into the office to tend to things there. If you'd like to talk about this in any way, you can send me an email, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Until then, blessings this day. Bye now. See you tomorrow.